Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Tasya Wulandari and I am from 5BA class. In this great opportunity, I would like to tell you about the types of variable. There are two types of variable. The first is categoric and the second one is continuous. But before telling you far about the types of variables, let me tell you what is the definition of the type of the variables itself. So the variables is something that becomes the target, that it also has a variety of values and has variability, or it can be divided into several types of categories that will become the phenomenon that is the center of research attention to be observed or measured. So here let us start the definition the types of variables. The first is coming from the categoric, and in this section I will divide it into three parts. The first is I will tell you about the definition, second is the purpose, and the third is the example. Okay, let's go on to the first one is about the definition. So the definition of the categorical variables are those categories which are not numerically measurable. These variables are either nominal by using no natural ordering or ordinal by using ordered categories. So what is the differences between them? Let me tell you, the first one is about the nominal variables that allow for only classification or categorization that have different characteristic, and we cannot rank order those categories different from ordinal variables that allow us from the nominal variables. Ordinal variables allow us to rank order the categories, that which categories has less and which category has more the quality that will represent by the variable, but we don't know the distance between the categories. Let's go on to the next slide. It's about the purpose. The purpose is the data entry and analysis using software, and categories are coded assigning numerical values. Next slide is about the example. The first is coming from the nominal variables. Example is gender, religion, blood group, symptoms of disease, cause of that, and these types is numerical values assigned to different categories that useful for purpose of identification only. For example, is one male, second is female. And the categoric variable and this categoric has only and this variable has only two categories. For example, is life or death and male or female, that called a binary or a dichotomous variable. And these types of variables, or the nominal variables, is summarized through counting or frequency and expressing proportion of each category, or by percentage. Okay, next example is coming from ordinal variable. I will take the example is in medicine, is in medical. For example, is the stage of the disease, stage 1 into stage 4. For example, we know that the stage 1 is less than the stage 2. But we cannot tell the exact differences between the two stage. And the other example is BMI, that we will use it when we calculate the weight, and the numerical values assigned for various categories that useful for identification as well as rank ordering. For example, 1 is low, second is middle, and 3 is high income group. And these variables is summarized same as the nominal variables. These ordinal variables is summarized through counting or frequency and expressing proportion of each category or percentage. Next types of the variables is the continuous. I will divide this section into three parts again. The first is definition. Second is what is the important things to remember when we will use these types of variables. And the last one is the example. The first one is the definition. The variables continuous include interval and ratio scale and consist of variables that have meaningful numerical values. Continuous variables are measured numerically and have infinite number of possible values. When one assigned a numeric code to a categorical variable, the number are not meaningful since the assignment of number was arbitrary, or in Indonesia is the rata-rata. Go on into the next slide is about the important things to remember if we will use these types. If the continuous variables is considered ratio, it has a the continuous variables is considered ratio if it has a meaningful 0 point, for example, is an age or distance, and the continuous variables, but the continuous variables is considered interval when if it can be measured along the continuum, but doesn't have meaningful 0 point. For example, is the temperature measured in Fahrenheit or Celsius. And the level of measurement of a variable influences what analysis can conduct. The next example. The variable gender consists of three levels, right? First is male, second is female, and three is the others. By taking the mean of the numbers associated with each level, also known as the numeric code, will yield a value. And what is the meaning of the mean value? Nothing, because the number were arbitrarily assigned to each level, or in Indonesia is diambil rata-ratanya saja di setiap level. On the next slide, it is about the summarized for all example that I have just told to you. For first is the there are four, right? The first is nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio, and I divided it into the criteria criteria into four group also. For first is characteristic, score, example, and measurement. The nominal characteristic is a category or classification, and the score is there is no value, and example is trip or suku in Indonesia. For example, is rich 1, poor 0, and the measurement is mode. The ordinal characteristics is by using levels or order. The distance is not known, and the score is there is no absolute 0. And example is position, first, second, third, winner. And the measurement is median. And the interval of the characteristic of the interval is the levels. The distance is the same, and there is no absolute 0. The example is temperature 34 Celsius, and the measurement is mean. The ratio characteristics is by rankings. The distance is the same, and the score is there is no absolute 0, and the weight is height 10 kilograms, 1,67 meters, and the measurement is mean. And on the next slide, I'll give you the clear example to make all the exactly example to make all clear. The first table. We can summarize the first table into the second table. The number column, because the number column is the category, so that it called the nominal data, because the class column is the or levels and order, so that it's ordinal data, and the score, because the score column is the levels, so that it called interval data, and the rank, because the rank column is the levels and levels also, so that it called ordinal data also, and because the price column is the rankings, so that it called the ratio data. I think that's all about my presentation. Thank you for your great attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.